Every Passover, Jewish families perform a ceremony that has been repeated for nearly 2,000 years. 3 pieces of unleavened bread. The middle one is broken, wrapped in white linen, hidden away, then ransomed back. And here's the mystery. Judaism has no definitive explanation for where this tradition came from or what it means. And the oldest written record of it only goes back to 200 AD. Nothing in the Dead Sea Scrolls, nothing in the Targums. The silence itself is part of the story. So I decided to follow this ritual itself and trace where it leads. What I found was insightful. Perhaps you will too. During the week of Passover, the biggest part of that ceremony is supposed to be the lamb, which I've already covered in the weekly reading Bo episode. Just follow the link on the screen or look in the description. It shows how every detail of the Passover lamb points to the Messiah. But today I want to show you something that most people missed. A tradition practiced at every Passover Seder still today. Surprisingly, it tells the Messiah's story without saying his name. At the Passover Seder, there are 3 pieces of matzah, or unleavened bread, placed inside a special bag or cover. Judaism gives multiple explanations for the 3. There's the 3 patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There's the priests, the Levites, and the Israelites as another option. But here's the thing. There's no ancient text that definitively explains why they're 3. The Mishnah, 200 AD, and the Talmud, 500 AD, mention the Afikomen tradition, but they don't explain the 3 matzah. That detail shows up later in rabbinic writings, but with no consensus on its meaning. Early Messianic Jews saw something different in the 3. Not Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Inside of this, either a napkin or this beautiful cover for the matzah, there's 3 matzot, the plural, 3 unleavened breads. They're in here, and they're called a unity. Okay?
That's what Jewish tradition calls it, the yachatz, a unity. These 3 pieces of matzah.
And we have a word that rhymes for it in Christianity, a trinity.
That's right.
So at this point in the Seder, the middle matzah is removed.
Oh my gosh.
Not the first, not the third, but the middle. So, the Son. Let's look at the matzah itself for some clues. It's striped from baking. It's pierced with holes to ensure that it does not rise. Unleavened, meaning no sin, no corruption. Isaiah wrote that 700 years before Jesus. The matzah has been showing it every Passover. After it's broken, the larger half is wrapped in white linen. Wrapped in white linen, just like Jesus' body was wrapped in white linen after his death. John 19:40 says, they took Jesus' body and wrapped it in linen cloths with the spices, as is the burial custom of the Jews. The broken bread, wrapped in white cloth. It's a burial. Almost everything that gets buried stays in the ground, unless it's a seed.
Of this matzah, from the middle matzah, is a word, Afikomen.
Afikomen.
So there is a Afikomen cover in here, if you want to put it in there.
Okay.
And then Sam, do you want to do the honors and hide the Afikomen?
Behind this thing.
After after the meal, then you guys can
That
find
sounds
it,
great.
yeah?
I'll find it before Jelaine.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, should we close our eyes and you're going to hide it?
My eyes are closed.
Yes,
Okay.
go
I'm
watch you hide
excited.
it, Sam.
Shall we? Okay. No peeking,
Yeah.
or you don't get a prize, okay?
No peeking.
Then the wrapped broken matzah is hidden away. The word for this step in the Seder is safun, which means hidden. Hidden in the house, out of sight. Jesus was hidden in the tomb for 3 days. Later in the Seder, the children search for the hidden Afikomen. When they find it, they ransom it back to the Father. He pays them to return what was hidden. Think about that. The broken bread is redeemed. It's bought back by the Father. It's restored. Jesus was raised from the dead, ransomed from the grave. At the end of the Seder, everyone eats a piece of the Afikomen. It's the last thing consumed. It's the final taste of the Passover meal. Do you know what Jesus said at his last Passover? He broke the bread. He told them to do this in remembrance of him. The Afikomen has been doing that ever since. But Where did this tradition come from? Because the Talmud doesn't explain it. The Mishnah doesn't explain it either. Even modern rabbis can't pinpoint the source. So how did it get there? Now here's where it gets interesting. The Talmud, Pesachim 119b, mentions the Afikomen, but doesn't explain where the tradition came from. Joseph Tabori, referencing Rashi, says the most important matzah is the last piece, in memory of the flesh of the Passover lamb. But the tradition itself is older than Rashi in the 11th century. One might say that Judaism adopted the tradition, but reinterpreted it. The meaning shifted a bit. Some scholars, like Robert Essler, have suggested the Afikomen tradition may have originated with the first century Jewish believers in Jesus. But there is no proof for that. However, we do have a Jewish believer named Melito of Sardis writing a Passover liturgy in the 2nd century within a generation of the apostles. Uses the exact Greek word Afikomen twice in his text. Twice referring to Jesus as the coming one. That's the same word as the root of Afikomen. He wasn't reading Christian theology back into a Jewish ceremony. He was writing as a Jew who celebrated Passover and recognized what the bread had always been saying. After the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, there was no Passover lamb to sacrifice. So the broken matzah became the symbol, the reminder of the lamb who had already been sacrificed. But the actions remained. Break it, wrap it, hide it, redeem it, and eat it. Every Passover for 2,000 years, this ceremony has been performed. Whether people understood it or not, the story was being told. I think you deserve to know the possible messianic connections, and not just what later rabbis interpreted it to mean. Now, let's see if we can understand the middle matzah better. They'll break it, wrap it, hide it, search for it, and then redeem it. You don't have to abandon your traditions. I'm just asking you to see where it seems to be pointing to. The Passover lamb in Exodus pointed forward. The broken matzah at your Seder points forward as well. Broken for you, wrapped for burial, hidden in the grave, and raised to life. The Afikomen has been telling that story. The question is, will you see it? Real quick, if you find this content helpful, I created an online store that helps you create conversation starters when you are out and about. It also helps with the production cost of future videos. Everything can be found at graftedinagain.com/shop. And if you want to understand the Passover lamb story in more detail, watch my weekly reading Bo episode. On the other hand, if you want to understand why Jesus died outside the camp, watch the Shabbat Parah video. All the pieces connect. This week we read 2 passages back to back. First, the Torah portion in Akeri Mot after the death, which describes the Day of Atonement ritual in the temple. Every element of that ritual, the confession, the blood, the scapegoat sent outside, paints a picture of what atonement actually looks like. Then we read the Haftorah from Amos, where the prophet promises that God will restore the fallen booth of David. The booth of David, not the throne, not the kingdom. The booth. It was broken, collapsed. It was waiting to be rebuilt. What does it mean that these 2 readings were paired on the same day? Join me as we explore how atonement and restoration fit together, and why the Messiah had to be both. Special thanks to the team at Grafted for making their Passover Seder footage available under Creative Commons license, allowing small creators like me an opportunity to tie into great content and visuals. If you enjoyed this series, you'll love their channel. They focus on the unity between Jewish and Gentile believers, exploring the Jewishness of Jesus. The link is in the description. If you would like to watch more videos in this series, click over here. For any of our other videos, try over here.